Yeah. So, isn't that great background? I was very upset this morning. I got up and somebody tagged me on a post about a family surrendering their dog who had already been 3 years in the family. And the trainer they're working with thought was a good idea to tell the family they should rehome the dog because the dog was reactive about the baby. I don't know what to say. Well, I'm not directly judging that. I'm judging because it's common. And I want to clarify a few things. There is a difference between a trainer, a behavior consultant, a certified trainer, a certified behavior consultant, a veterinary behaviorist, and so on. So if Frank or Susie, your neighbor trainer, come to your house, who has no clue about anything, doesn't have a certification, doesn't have any education, doesn't attend any workshop, they just print cards and do training, and this trainer tells you to surrender your dog that's 3 years already in your home because the baby scared the dog and that is the death penalty for the dog eventually, it's kind of like wrong. It's kind of like, hey, I have problems with my wife. I'm gonna ask my neighbor. My neighbor is, oh, you should divorce your wife. I'm like, okay, I'll do that because that makes totally sense. So let's clear something out. And I understand where these people coming from. We have a baby, right? And we have a dog. Often it's a large dog. Small dogs don't fall in that category, but they're usually large dogs. Usually bully breeds and up, because there are biased trainers out there. They think that that particular dog from that particular breed, if he growls at your baby, is gonna eat your baby at the end. As stupid as he can get. A breed doesn't doesn't eat your babies, right? As a default. We're gonna get there where the problems arises, and we're gonna talk about that too, because I'm not only one-sided. I'm not tilt, right? So let's go the easy scenario. Your dog is not socialized. Why? Because it's a COVID puppy. That's why. That's a simple example. Or your dog is a rescue. He's being surrendered and he ended up in rescue and he ended up in your house. 3 years later, you and your family become bigger, got another baby. Okay, baby is crying, everybody's changing his environment, the dog is being restricted from going to the certain rooms. The dog cannot be in the living room anymore, everything is changing, life is changing, people are changing, and the dog is like, what the fuck is going on? Of course the dog would get upset or frustrated because he doesn't know what's going on. What would you think if you come home and suddenly your partner's luggage is in the front door and a taxi waits outside? I want to see your look. What happened? Well, there is no answer. A dog doesn't get these answers. It just gets stressed. Okay, so we have that aside. New changes environment stresses the dog out. Good? Now, in a couple of months, couple of weeks, the baby starts crying louder, mom and dad are too busy, visitors coming in for household, and of course the dog has to make room for that. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're having an invasion going on in the house. Whoever opens the door comes in and runs straight in the bedroom, ignores me as a dog, like I'm nothing, like zero. And then, what happens? Not only that, if I complain about it, I end up in a crate. Why? Why me? Not them. I didn't do anything. They came in my house. I'm getting scared. Why don't they go in the crate? So we see the dog still doesn't get the answers, right? And then the other part that we totally forget is that usually dogs are not educated, and I'm not saying trained because it's derogatory kind of sort of, they're not educated what to do with those situations. Like we didn't think about that, hey, I'm gonna have a baby. Oh, my dog will be fine. He's already 3 years in the family. What can go wrong? Right? And then we don't think down that road. Hey, you have a dog, you will have a baby, Where will your dog go in the car? What do we do if we open the door to push up the stroller out the door? Is the dog will be contained in the house? Do I need to put the leash on? What should I put first on, the leash or the stroller? And those things are not being educated to the dog in time. But then the baby poop hits the fan and the whole shit flies around and the dog is the one who pays the bill. Now, I get it. We're going to hire a trainer. I get it. I would do it too. But who do you hire? A trainer? Just a trainer? What is the job of a trainer? A trainer trains a dog to do obedience skills. That's what the trainer is. Trainer trains the dog. But you don't have a training problem. You have a behavior problem and you have a relationship problem. Who do you hire now? Once you know that you have a behavior problem and you have a relationship problem. And where the relationship problem comes in, I'll explain to you. Everything was fine. Every time the dog comes up to you, he gets petted. Every time the dog jumps on you, he gets kissed, right? All these things. And now all of a sudden that stops. Why? Because you're pregnant. I'm saying an example, right? Because your wife is pregnant, your dog cannot jump on your wife. The dad is cut out, right? Because we may have eventually a situation that health concerned, we cannot pet and kiss the dog either. And your dog is like, what happened? Is our relationship changed? All of a sudden, our relationship is gone. No kisses, no hugs, no jumping on. It's over. The dog is like, are we filing for divorce or something? Right? And not only that, there is all these restrictions coming in. The dog cannot go in the room. They cannot go upstairs. They cannot jump on the bed. Why? He doesn't know why. This damn thing in a house smells different, looks different. Everybody pays attention to it. And that baby hasn't done anything all day long. Why does he get all these credits and I, who take care of the family, does not get my credits? Now all of a sudden we see that the dog still doesn't get any answers, right? And now the baby grows up, it throws the food on the floor, the dog is like, yes, I got my snack. And now I'm gonna protect the snacks around my chair, whatever drops from there, because the baby, snacks, threw things down. And what do? We kind of encourage it, right? And now all of a sudden the dog wants more of that snacks. And don't you dare picking it up before your dog does. Why? Because you didn't educate your dog what to do around the chair. What to do about food dropping on the floor. Right? And whose fault is that? And still your dog doesn't get these answers. Why not? Why cannot have? I always got it. Everything is on the floor is mine, right? The food is on the floor, my toys are on the floor. Well, tomorrow the baby will be on the floor. Is that his toy to play with? Why not? Why is he now restricted to do all these things? Why can he not have this football on the floor like he always had? Well, I tell you why. Because this baby's gonna get it. And so you're smart picking it up. Well, you didn't think that through, right? Didn't you? And what about the baby start moving in the first place? So picture this. You're sitting in your living room, everything is cool, and suddenly your bag starts moving from one place to the other. Will you jump up and scream or not? Because I would. If suddenly my back moves around, I'm on the table. And what would your dog think about it? What would your dog think? And suddenly this little tiny thing on the floor, like a toy looks like, suddenly moves his hands. Well, that's creepy. And what if after tomorrow, this baby starts moving around like a loose cannon? What will your dog think about it? Well, what does he do if you throw things? He's gonna chase it, right? Because that's what we do. You toss things, you chase them. And now the baby is moving on its own. What will the dog do? See, the dog doesn't get any answers. He has questions, he doesn't get the answers. Because you didn't educate your dog that, hey, we're gonna set up an area that you cannot step on there. Okay? We'll be in there and you will be out there. I'm gonna play games around that. Teaching the dog what to do with that containment. Instead of putting your dog in a confinement, why don't you put your baby in a confinement? Huh? There are baby playpens you can use. We use them later for dog pens, and now all of a sudden it's a dog pens. No, it's a baby playpen. You have the baby in there. If you cannot supervise your baby is in there. Technically speaking, if you can hold your baby on your hands, it's in there. It's a safe place for your baby to play with, and it's a safe area to be safe from your dog. And why should it be safe from your dog? Because your dog feels threatened. And if your dog feels threatened, he may make a mistake. And so you keep the dog safe from the baby, and you keep the baby safe from the dog. I get it. Your baby needs more freedom. Okay. Does your baby have a passport? No? Put him in a pen. It's safe there. Does your baby listen to your words? Like leave it, drop it, sit down, go to your place? No? In the pen. Does your dog know those cues? No? Outside of the pen. If you don't give your dog education and you don't give education to your baby, these two don't match. It's a bad match. Okay? How do we start? First of all, you need to understand your dog's emotional, biological, educational, nutritional, all these needs need to be met. Just like you have to meet your baby's needs. If you meet your baby's needs, then you're a good mother and a good father, right? And what about your dog? Did you meet those needs? No. Do you know those needs? Because I know people that don't know their needs. They think it's not okay for the dog in his playpen or in his crate to have water in there all the time. Oh, yeah, well, dogs need water all the time, free access to water, right? Do you know that a dog has the right to have affection and come to you for help and support? And what do you do when you have your baby in your hands? You send the dog away. Great. What do you do if people come over to your house? What do you do with your dog? What does your dog do with those people? What does your dog do if suddenly the doorbell rings? Right? All these things, the dog needs to be educated. Now, if you do hire a trainer and he doesn't educate about those things, but tries to fix the dog to ignore those things, right? Like he doesn't have emotions and he doesn't have any needs, right? Only you has to be, feeling good, and the dog doesn't have to feel good. If the trainer cannot fix that, then you have to surrender your dog? It doesn't make any sense. So if a trainer cannot help you there, it's because it's not his job to do that. His job is to educate you, to educate your dog, to understand the situation, the new family situation, prepare you and the dog how to walk next to the stroller without the baby in there. But if you already have a behavior problem and your dog already reacting to the baby, that's not a training issue, right? That's a behavior issue. So you need to see a behavior consultant, right? And so the behavior consultant has a deep understanding about animal behavior and usually also deeper understanding about family systemics. What happens if I add another component into my family? What happens if I remove one component on the family? What is going the dog emotionally and psychologically through the process of you opening your house to another creature, baby, dog, puppy, whatever? All these are problems to your dog that needs to be addressed before it actually happens. So we need to be proactive rather than reactive. And I'm sorry to put it so plain, I don't think the baby happened accidentally and then you accidentally didn't know about that for 6 and 7 months. So as soon as you know the test is, honey, we're expecting a baby. And you're like, I love you, blah, 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 things. Let's call somebody to help us also with the dog because he needs to know that we're expecting a baby. And how this is set up, it's a long process. It can take a couple of months. The dog has to be in home, maybe eventually put in a different place. He needs to learn this bed is not anymore available. We have an alternative bed. Still fun and still joy, right? We need to find him how to get the dog in a car. tomorrow we're gonna travel with a baby going places, right? What do we do with the dog? Oh shit, we need to get a dog sitter. Great, we need to introduce a dog sitter in the home. And all these things come up. There's so many things that we need to care for, and each family is individual and each dog is individual. We cannot just put them right dump into the same box and says, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that with my dog and everything will be fine. No, it's not like that. Some dogs do indeed have problems with new things in the house. They have emotional development problems. They're removed too early from the litter. They don't understand certain things they can do and they cannot do. Some dogs are not even aware of other one's body. They are not body aware, right? Some dogs are so, I'm not saying screwed up, but so spoiled that all of a sudden when you have to put some regulations in place, that dog will freak out. So if whoever told you that your dog needs to be at home because he's stressed out about the baby, this person doesn't have a clue what's happening. Next, find somebody who has some educational background, who at least attend some workshops, some seminars. You can find them if you go to Pet Professional Guild. You're gonna click on search on people. Those people are certified and at least they are in a direction that's positive reinforcement. Most of them are educated. You're not just like that positive reinforcement trainer, right? You look for it, you study it, you search for it, you learn from it. It's more complex. I know some people says balance training is the top of the training. No, it's not. It's definitely not. And positive reinforcement training is the scientific updated research process and protocols in place. However, just because you read books and just because you watch videos and just because you are more interested than others doesn't make you an expert to making those kind of decisions. It's easy to keep your reputation high and put the responsibility onto the parents. I'm not dealing with that, surrender your dog. Well, before you do that, recommend the family to call somebody else. Here are two things that you will have benefit from. A, being able to refer somebody to another professional makes you a better person. It takes guts to say, hey, you know what? That's beyond my educational grade. But I know somebody who knows more than me and lets him take the responsibility to make that decision. Your vet is not responsible for that. Your vet is responsible to keep your dog healthy. So if you go to your vet and says, hey, my dog growled at my baby, the vet's responsibility is to make sure there are no underlying medical conditions. Oh, I don't see something is not enough. Run some blood work test. Check thyroid. Check leaky guts. Check the biome. Right? Check if the dog's being in pain. Inflammations. Any other problems. But, oh, the dog is okay because I did the P test and he doesn't have UTI, the dog is fine. That's not enough. So maybe you want to go to a holistic veterinarian or integrative veterinarian who understands how things can happen and start preventative working on them. Right? So your veterinarian is not a behaviorist. Your veterinarian doesn't understand dog training and doesn't understand veterinary training, behavior training, because he doesn't have that education. He is good in other things. And the trainer or the veterinarian should recommend you a trainer who is certified. Not just whoever drops him some cards and maybe brings a pizza for lunch for the people, so they post their cards on the desk. He needs to be educated. Right? And I cannot imagine a veterinarian to recommend a trainer who uses prong collars and shock collars. It's against the do no harm approach. He has an oath, do no harm. So why recommending to a trainer who does harm? Right? And the Veterinary Association is very clear about how to approach training in general and behavior modification in general, only without doing harm. So dog trainers who use shock collars, prong collars, choke collars, and any aversive methods and any dominance, they're out. Sorry, I'm being harsh here. If you have a problem with that, just call me out. because I can call you back in. So, kind of end of rant, because I want to go to the beach, and I want you with your dog and your baby to be able to go to the beach as well. So instead of surrendering your dog, call a professional who's educated and can help you. You don't know? Well, message me, reach out to me. Can I help you? I don't know. Depend on the situation. Yes, there are books out there. You can buy a book and you can try things, but the reality is, who's gonna evaluate the situation? Because from your perspective, you think your dog is aggressive and is gonna kill your baby. That's your mindset. But who's gonna help you making the decision? Is it right? Is it wrong? So be very careful. You have a dog who's family, and suddenly you just decide family over family? Because somebody told you so? No, I'm gonna double check it. I'm gonna triple check it. I'm not surrendering my dog who lived with me for 3 years because somebody told me he's gonna kill my child because he has no clue about it. I don't. And yes, I do refer people out. If I think that situation is over my control, and I think people will not be able to follow through what I suggest, I will refer out. Let somebody else deal with it. You're not doing any good telling people to surrender their dogs to the rescue. You don't do the rescue well, and you don't do the people well, you don't do the dog well. So, what do? Say, sorry, I cannot help you. I know about dog training, but I don't know about your baby and dog problems. These are family problems, they're emotional problems. From the dog's perspective, those babies are loose cannons. From your dog's perspective, your relationship has a problem. It just cracked. Your mood changes, your emotions are changing, your way of treating your dog changes, all the dog's environment is changing. Do you think the dog would take it like that? Would you take it like that? Oh, honey, I'm bringing a friend over. I would like it to move to the other bedroom. And by the way, you will not be able to access the refrigerator anymore, sweetie. And oh, that bathroom, you have to share. How would you feel in your family if that happens suddenly and you don't know about it? And what do you think your dog will do about it if you put it just on the table like that? Right? So it's more serious than just saying, oh, your dog reacted to the baby, get rid of the dog. I understand it's an important responsibility, and you as a father or the mother have to explain to your other family members who told you your dog is aggressive, you should not have the baby with that particular dog because of the breed, the particular breeds. Who knows what those particular breeds are? Because I don't know of any study that proves that those particular breeds are dangerous to your baby. I don't know. So, just a neighbor lost his dog because they didn't listen to me. That's a good. Yep. There you go. That's how you do it. Nice and laughing and cozy. Good job. There you go. Perfect. Good. My next door neighbor has 2 awesome dogs, and one got out. It's not running after the people. Well, that's vacation. Shit happens, But at least he kept his cool and was funny and inviting instead of yelling and screaming. So he got his dog back. So, anyway, if you have experience with that, if you're a professional colleague, or you had a baby, or you had a dog, chime in, say something, share it. Because how would you feel if you know that some of your friends just surrendered his dog because some stupid idiot told them, oh, your dog growled at the baby? Get rid of the dog. Remember what I said before about the divorce? Just because your neighbors told you, oh, I saw your wife watching TV past 10 o'clock and she's screaming about it and laughing about it, you should divorce her. And you're like, oh, you think I should do? Okay, let's call the lawyer. It doesn't make any sense. Why would it make sense if a trainer told you get rid of your dog on the first shot, and you don't ask a second question, you don't ask another professional? It's on you. Sorry. As much as I hate it, it will be on you. And it's not the rescue who doesn't take your dog who are bad people who don't take your dog. And it's not the shelter bad people who don't take the dog, because they're up to here. Not here, here. And then they have to kill, because they have to take your dog, but to take your dog that you surrendered, they have to kill another dog that's in the shelter. So you want to be part of the no-kill community, you have to make your decision. Should I surrender my dog or not? Am I part of the system or not? Enjoy the rest of your day, because I have to. And think about that. If you see anyone who wants to surrender his dog, they need to understand that the person who recommended that to do, they didn't advise them right. It takes, I maybe had to make that decision 3 times in my 20 years. You know how many dogs I work with and how many families I work with? It's not even 1 promille of those people. You know how many people call me and tell me my vet told me to put my dog down because my dog reacted, and the trainer told me to put my dog down, and the person, my neighbor, told me to surrender my dog, and then my family goes after me because of my dog. Hundreds. Alone this week, just posts I'm tagged on, like maybe 50 posts. Maybe 3 or 5 posts that I'm aware of that people tag me on it, trying to get rid of their dog for whatever stupid, weird reasons that can easily be addressed by talking to a professional who actually know his shit. Do I know my shit? No, I don't know all the shit. I know limited things. As much as I can learn, as much as I can get, as much as can be up to date with things. I discover things all the time. I'm like, oh shit, if I knew that earlier, I wouldn't have done it differently. And I regret things. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining my rant. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for recommending. Because it's not, we have to think on the whole family. That child would never meet that dog. That might be his personal support dog. Because somebody made the decision for them. It's wrong. It's unethical. It's just plain stupid. Good? So, it's closing. Enjoy the beach. It's in Newport. Wonderful hotel. I would give it 5 stars if they had only 4 stars. And they're pet friendly. The whole bottom sections, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And another 15 over there. 30 rooms dog friendly. Some of them, at least the 13, have fireplace in them. Some of them have even jacuzzi, right? And some of them have view to the beach. All of them have. It's kind of a wonderful area. So, yeah, let's stop this. It's not nice. Poor dogs, poor families, poor kids.